Good evening, I'd like to call the Muhlenberg Township Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, November 20th, 2023 to order. All please rise for a pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a memorial moment. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Please remain standing for a memorial moment for Bill Lohman, who passed away on November 8th. Bill was the father-in-law of Recreation Superintendent Kelly Gorski. Thank you. I have two quick presentations to go through, or one motion and promotion. But first, we do have to swear in our newest fire police officer, Stephen Van Miller. So, Stephen, if you could come up, please. All right, Stephen, if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Stephen Van Miller,
Do solemnly swear that I will support,
I do solemnly swear that I will support,
obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Obey and defend the Constitution of the United States
obey and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
And the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
And I will discharge my duties of my office with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome. Oh, good Friday, just moving on real quick, since we have our police force here for our promotion, we're gonna move just to skip around the agenda while they're here, on item number B, under new business. First we'll do the motion and I'll call the chief up. So item B, we need a motion to promote Patrolman Joshua Barnes from the list of eligible candidates provided by the Civil Service Commission to the rank of detective effective November 20th, 2023. Excuse me. So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. So chief, if you'd like to take a minute.
Having passed all the testing and meeting all the requirements issued by the Muhlenberg Township Civil Service Commission, and by recommendation of the Chief of Police, Patrol Officer First Class Joshua Barnes is hereby promoted to the rank of detective under the authority of the Board of Commissioners of Muhlenberg Township. Officer Barnes has served the department since July of 2017 in various roles, including patrol, member of the Berks County District Attorney's Drug Task Force, a member of BSERT, field training officer, and had also just finished over a year-long assignment as a criminal investigator. Congratulations, Officer Barnes, on your promotion to detective. I know you will continue to serve the community with honor and distinction in your position. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Congratulations, Detective.
Thank you.
Marcy, good evening. Just for the minutes, we did have an executive session held before the meeting tonight to discuss some personnel matters. Thank you. Public portion. Anyone signed in under the first public portion or would like to speak? Okay. Being done. I need a motion to approve the entire consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Any questions or comments?
If I may,
Sure.
there's a correction in the minutes from last month. Item 10 under board appointments. The last half of that sentence was inadvertently either not included or deleted by accident. So that motion should continue to say to appoint Commissioner Wolfinger and Commissioner Lasota to the MTA board on terms expiring December 24th and December 2024 and December 2025 respectively.
Got it. So, and for the consent agenda, just noting that the change to the minutes will be made. So do we have a motion? And a second. Any further questions or comments?
I'll just make a comment on the police report. I say it every month, but it's a very, very great report. I love the way it's legends spell out what happened in the platoons. I mean, it's a lot of good stuff, good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any unfinished business? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. I need a motion to approve the payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service.
So moved.
Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to approve payment application number 1, final to H&K Group, Inc. in the amount of $528,539.76 for work completed on the 2023 annual road paving project. So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to approve payment application number 2, final to GNR Excavating Demolition, in the amount of $81,360 for the work completed on the 401 Darby Avenue project. Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I need, skipping D, obviously, on to E, motion to authorize the chief of police to extend a conditional offer of employment to a candidate on the current civil service list. So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments for the chief?
Thank you.
We did vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to request an updated eligibility list from the Civil Service Commission for the position of patrol officer. So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered.
Can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the conditional offer of employment, technically, we have 2 lists running. One is certified, and that had one remaining candidate on it, which was the conditional letter. We're finishing up backgrounds on the second round, and I would hope to have that completed by the December meeting to extend additional conditional offers.
And the positions that we have.
Providing this candidate will get the conditional offer, if everything goes smooth with him, we'll have 3 more.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And I need a motion to approve the revisions to the Township 457B plan to include a raw amendment.
Moved.
Second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, if any, The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to approve the revised minimum municipal obligation of $428,628 for the non-uniform employee pension plan.
Question,
Uh,
are these higher than they were
Yes.
before? Is that because the stock market's down or?
No, it's because when they did our first MMO calculation, we didn't have the actuary report done. So when the new actuary report was done, obviously by the performance and all the other things, then it increased it. We didn't have to adopt these. Obviously, we wanted to adopt these because you don't want your unfunded liability, you want to put as much to the fund, so they did go up. Police went up more than,
18,000 for non-uniform and 118 for police.
yeah.
Thank you, John. Any motion? Move. Second. Any questions or further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to approve the revised minimum municipal obligation of $866,331 for the uniformed employee pension plan.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Before I get into J and K, I just, read through our budget message for this year. So if you can bear with me a second. So tonight, the Board of Commissioners will vote on the 2024 preliminary budget. This is a balanced budget of all funds totaling $22,218,378. Detailed presentation of each of the budget will be available on the township's website. It will also be available for public inspection in the township office during normal business hours until final adoption, which is scheduled for December 18th Board of Commissioners meeting. The 2024 budget process began this past July with a continued focus on maintaining the township's ongoing record of stable operations and strong financial performance in the face of record inflation. These past years have been met with much uncertainty and many economic challenges, but this reality did not minimize our efforts of delivering high-quality services while adhering to tight budgetary controls. Rising costs will continue to be a challenge, but we are committed to plan for future years using the same fiscally responsible spending that has earned the township a consistent AA bond rating. 2024 proposed budget was presented at the Board of Commissioners public workshop held on Saturday, October 21st, 2023, to review the draft 2024 budget and make tough decisions regarding the appropriation of township funds. Modifications resulting from the board's review are incorporated into the budget. This year's general fund operating budget shortfall totaled approximately $245,000. The general fund operating revenue budget increased by $1,510,122, or 9.4% compared to last year. This is due to the strong performance of our tax revenue and investments. The general fund operating expenditure budget increased by $997,447, or 5.9% from last year. To balance the 2024 general operating budget, the board decided to allocate funds from the township's unrestricted reserves and not increase the tax millage rate, which would remain at 4.6 mils. The township maintains a cash reserve balance in order to purchase capital equipment for all township departments, improve township roads and other capital projects. The budget includes a $1 million transfer for capital expenditures. Muhlenberg continues its investment in economic development. The township completed the revitalization project of the Fifth Street corridor and is committed to bring new business to the township to further strengthen our community, increase our tax base. So on to the fire and ambulance services portion of the budget. We continue to be very committed to providing quality emergency services. Part of that commitment includes providing funds to pay for Muhlenberg Township fire and rescue operating costs together with equipment replacement. In 2022, we hired a full-time fire chief to strengthen and enhance the operations of the department. So we've been blessed with a solid pool of volunteers. However, to keep up with the increasing demand for fire services, this year's budget includes the addition of 2 full-time fire employees. The fire millage rate will contain a small 0.2 mil increase to help offset the cost of these enhanced operational changes. This commitment also extends to the Muhlenberg Ambulance Association. Over the past several years, the Ambulance Association has operated on a deficit due to the decrease in membership and the revenues from services. In 2022, the township assessed the real estate millage of 0.110 to help fund the ambulance associations. And this year, in an effort to also maintain and enhance EMS services, a small 0.2 mil increase will be included in the 2024 budget. Thank all the department directors, township staff for all their hard work as the 2024 budget. The proposed budget will serve as a strong foundation for the board to continue to build a strong community. Any comments from my fellow commissioners before we get into it?
As always, I think our department has done a fantastic job presenting to the board of commissioners, exactly what we need to operate a township of our size and provide services to the number of residents that we have, which is growing all the time, is shown in the last census. We are up 1,000 people, or a township now approximately 22,000 residents, 22,000 plus residents. And it's not even, I've said this before over the years, we operate like a small city. Our township is configured like a small city, we have some very high density areas, home areas, and we have some areas that have some larger homes and some larger properties. Now we have a major highway, business highway runs through our township, and like other municipalities, COVID kind of hit hard and, took down a little bit the number of new businesses that we saw in, but we were very lucky to maintain growth, and we've had new businesses come in, and there's still a lot of interest in our township. So I commend the board and the entire staff for continuing that. We tried to maintain that, services for health and safety, the welfare of our residents remain our top priority. We are continually looking at our first responders, and I think we've taken some more steps to make sure that we have the coverages that we need in our township. I can only echo Mike what he said. There were some tough decisions to be made, but the township remains in a strong financial position. But like everything else, costs go up. I think we've done our best to minimize that impact, to still be able to service all our constituents. So thank you to the staff for providing us great data.
Victor? Thank you, Commissioner Lurch, and Friday, I think it was Friday, EMS, the CELG is running a whole, I think, investigation or trying to help us as a county, right? Uncover, the shortfalls, so I know that they started that process, and I know we're involved in that process, correct? So it's good to get everyone at the table, and I think some of the elected officials it's an eye-opening experience about, I think, how some municipalities provide so little even support. So anyway, I'm glad that that's happening. I think that was good. All right. So moving on then, I do need a motion to authorize the solicitor to advertise an ordinance setting the tax rate for 2024.
Moved.
Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Any motion to authorize the solicitor to advertise the 2024 budget and tax rate?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. I do want to mention too, we usually put in that trash, it's gonna remain the same with the senior discount, because it's one of our largest bills. But just, the budget was brought up that way. Before we go to, the next item, I'm gonna turn it over to Commissioner Wolfinger, who wants to make a few comments before we make the motion and vote on the new funding program for the base.
Thank you, Commissioner. One thing I've been proud of being part of this board is we've always been very open with the public. We've always looked at every angle, try to decide which is the best thing for the public. And I always thought we made really good, true decisions. This next decision is a tough one. I mean, it's, last month, I brought up the fact that I thought that we had a overpopulation in deer, and that was an issue that should be dealt with. Kind of going home tonight, I'll probably see 3 deer in my driveway, that's not normal. 2:30 in the morning, my ring doorbell goes off with a deer, that's not normal. I had a lot of complaints about damages to property due to deer. I mean, the deer are hungry, there's not a lot of food for them to go around with the herd going now. And what do? They eat your hostas and all your shrubberies, and people have been complaining. I know it's a touchy issue. It's an issue that was before the board years ago that did not pass. But the bottom line is we have a problem that if it's not addressed sooner, it will be addressed later. There are municipalities that actually pay different companies to come in to eliminate deer herds or lower them down. I don't want it to get to that point. So the question is, how do we solve this problem? I walked the neighborhood that I live in, Elm Avenue area. I walked Hartman Road, West Bellevue, Maple, Linden Avenue. I handed out a sheet that basically said what I saw as the problem and was looking for suggestions. My suggestion was that we don't open the thing up for a hunt like you do in state game land, but we would pick certain people to come in and lower the herd by maybe 10 deer. Met 2 people on my walk that border the basin area. The one acknowledged they have deer issues, all their shrubberies being eaten. Friend of mine, but she said that I don't want to see a deer that's maimed in my backyard. That was her concern. She acknowledged there was a problem. Another neighbor acknowledged there was a problem. His wife was concerned that the public would get the idea that it would be standard practice to go hunting in the basin. And she didn't want that. Now, I handed out 50 to 70 of these things. I got 2 people that actually sent emails, and I think they described both arguments. The one lady did not want her name mentioned, but I'll read the text to you. Hi, Steve. I received your note yesterday and appreciate your reaching out. I too love the deer in our neighborhood, but agree with you that we need to do something to control the population. I walk my dog almost every evening and regularly see deer in the neighborhood yards. I've seen over 20 in just one area. We have a big buck right outside our front window, or had it last week. It was beautiful, but it's just not normal. Many of the deer cross Hartman and Lacey's Bridge Road in the evening, and as well as you know, the road is a racetrack, which Chief Echo. There's likely going to be a hit and run, or someone's going to get hurt. Another concern is there's so many deer, the inbreeding will lead to disease, deformities, the waste disease.
Chronic wasting disease.
Which I actually had a deer in the back of my house that had chronic waste. It was a small deer, and it would walk with me up Elm Avenue. It was in bad shape. There's snow on the ground. There isn't as much food to support the large herd. I don't want any animal to be hurt, but I believe that thinning the herd a bit would help the whole herd stay healthy and not suffer a worse fate. And also help to prevent unauthorized poaching of the deer, which is happening in the basin. I agree with the controlled and regulated hunt, which I put on the handout. Her neighbor responded, and again, this is a friend of mine, so I feel I can make both arguments here. But he said, Steve, we appreciate the note and the heads up about the hunt. My wife and I were against this proposal. This was proposed 20 years ago or so, and the residents were against it then. I bet I spend more time in the basin than anyone in the township. The problem is not at the level you described. I believe the Hartman road deer count you mentioned is Cartesian issue, and they're behind the fence. And that's another issue that should be dealt with. I'll just make an aside to that is the deer in the Cartech area behind the fence, they're not prisoners. Police officers told me they saw them jump the fence. I have a hard time believing that. But there's an opening on River Road where the deer can come and go from Cartech. So their deer are our deer. I believe when the hunt was proposed before, it was hunters just looking to get deer. They claimed the same problem back then that exists today. The hunt was defeated and it ended up not being an issue. Yes, there are deer, but I don't think at the level you suggest. I saw 25 one night myself. Even as a controlled operations, we would object to it. We don't want people with weapons in the basin. That's basically what he said, except for we really do not want this exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. I can appreciate the people who reside on Lacey's Bridge that border the basin. The basin's sort of like their backyard. And I appreciate that. But the problem is we have an issue with an overpopulation of deer. And the issue isn't basin oriented. If you ask the game commission, deer have like a mile radius where they roam around. So the deer that are in the basin won't go everywhere. Sunday morning, I was down at Laurel Park. I just walked upon 7th and they all just looked at me like I was just a friendly person walking by. They're very, very friendly. I know there are deer getting hit on the road. That's basically the only thing that's controlling some of the numbers. But I agree with this one lady, there are too many people that are just driving too fast and we have a lot of deer in the area. And that goes through the whole township. Unfortunately, we can't hunt the whole township. The basin is such that we could get a plan together. No rifles, archery only, extremely limited number of hunters. All hunters would be tested for their ability to put an arrow in a certain area within 20 yards. If they don't want the deer, it would be donated to a nonprofit organization. I do not hunt. I never killed a deer. I catch flies and spiders and release them outside. I just now graduated to killing stink bugs and lantern flies. So I love seeing deer. But unfortunately, what's going to happen here is the deer will starve, and it's going to be a worse death than a controlled hunt. We met our manager, Jim Bobick, our parks director, Karen, chief, another person who organized the hunt before, who volunteered his time to set it up. I don't know another solution. I guess we could somehow get birth control to deer somehow. I don't know, bad joke, but what do you do? When you have, I saw 7 deer down at Laurel Lane Park one Sunday. They all were doe. Next year, those 7 deer will be around 15, if not more, because every doe has either 1, 2, or 3 babies. So, the 25 deer I saw the other night on Wisey's Birch Road will be 40 deer next year. So that's, I don't know the solution other than what we're proposing. I invited all the handouts, all the people that read them to be part of this meeting through our owl. To see what's going on, because I like to be open with the public, let them know what's going on. This is not a hunter-driven type of movement. In fact, we're not looking for people to take buck. If you shoot a buck next year, you don't have a buck. If you shoot a doe, you don't have 2 or 3 more deer. So that's all I have to say about that before I would make a motion. I don't know if there's any discussion in the public or on the board.
I do agree with Steve. The amount of other claims that we're getting, related to deer claims, it is increasing. I believe, I would say it's a handful every week, which is significant increase. And we do have a lot of deers in River Road.
Yeah, I guess my comment would be with respect to the safety end of it, and I went to the Pennsylvania Game Commission's webpage, and it was interesting to note that through their training program of hunters, the state of Pennsylvania last year had 0 fatalities during deer hunting season, and that was archery and gun. And there were only 14 non-fatal injuries, and 0 were from archery. So that made me feel a lot more comfortable knowing that we're going to use archery versus any type of weapon, a gun-related weapon, that the history in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, archery is a very safe way to handle the deer population.
Yeah, I concur with my fellow commissioners. I've lived in the township since 1978. And I see more deer now than I ever have. And there was a carcass in the last few weeks down on River Road, down near Kelly's Lot. And I have noticed, I mean, the deer are definitely more immune to the fact that there's vehicles on the road, because I mean, you will see them standing right next to the road. I mean, they make no effort to disappear. And, you know, this is not an action taken so much to prevent an accident on River Road, because people definitely do drive way too fast down there. I think you guys know it. I mean, just, you know, even if you were doing the speed limit, if you would get out that large, and you know, it's not just on River Road. I mean, that whole area down there. You know, it is going to result in more damage at some point. And I'm with Walt. You know, I looked over the documentation. You know, the safety of the residents who live down there is primary concern. But this is not a situation where we're going to have, you know, 500 hunters in a small area, you know, each aiming at each other. That's been very well thought out, very well planned, very thoroughly looked into. So I think it's something that's necessary.
Yeah, my comments will do what everyone, you know, said. This isn't a hunter, this is a safety issue for the community. And the policy is extremely well written. And I think like anything else, if we find ways to tweak it and make it better, that's what we do, we make it better. But I think to the point that Commissioner Wolfinger made already, right now it's happening without our patrol. Because we do have poachers down there that we don't, you know, we're not there all the time. At least now we give, you know, we have a formal policy in place that can kind of push some of that aside and they can be pushed. But I did have you know, to avid hunters review it, who thought it was very well put together, so. You know, I worry about the speed on River Road, and not just River Road, I mean, you can be anywhere anymore within the township, and they're there, so they have to do something. So thank you for the staff who put that together, I know there was a lot of time on it, so. I will need a motion to approve the 2023-2024 hunting program in the Riverside Basin, which will be available online, this is early.
So,
Second, any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize Public Works Superintendent to purchase a new bucket truck from Ursa Lift East for $160,282.
Move. Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to provide conditional plan approval of 4536 of Franklin Road subdivision conditioned on SDE's most recent review letter and based on the planning commission's recommendation.
So moved.
Second, any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2023-05, adopting the Berks County Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Move. Second.
Questions or comments?
what is that?
This is a countywide, plan that was created by Berks Department of Emergency Services to address any and every type of natural disaster, or man-made disaster that could occur in the county. All municipalities in Berks had input when it came to creating the plan, and Berks DES has asked that all municipalities adopt this resolution. And by adopting the resolution, what it does is it allows municipalities to be eligible for funding if and should it become available at some point in the future to mitigate some particular risk. If you haven't had an opportunity to see the plan, if you go to the county DES website, it's very detailed. Again, it covers everything from cyber attacks to forest fires to sinkholes, you name it. If it could happen, tornadoes, hurricanes, everything. And read through the plan. There are some specific mentions of Muhlenberg in regards to sinkholes and flooding and things like that, but it is a very detailed, very thorough plan.
Thank you, Jim. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to approve the reduction of the letter of credit for the Fairmont Avenue redevelopment project to $94,803.50.
So move.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any, the ayes have it, and so ordered. Board appointments, we don't have any.
Correct.
All right. Public portion, anyone wish to speak on the second public portion? Go ahead, Bill.
Sort of disagree with your hunting proposals. Because it doesn't matter what you fill on this side of the river. It's not gonna cut it down any because they come right across from the other side from over in the state game land. They're gonna go where the food is. You're not gonna cut back on hunting, and hopefully you don't have any screwballs out there with a bow. I disagree with it. I feed them personally. They give them apples, whatever.
Every person that will be taking part in this will be tested by a professional. Okay?
Yeah, I know.
Be able to shoot, and there's rules, there's the rules that the township has, and also you'll have to follow the game commission rules. So they will have to follow those.
Okay, they're not going, but it's fine. But I just disagree with it, but
Thank you.
that's only my opinion.
Any other comments? All right,
I do this.
New business, go ahead. I'm sorry.
People don't play around what they have. If you read the NTA minutes, there was made a mention that there was going to be some action taken on the backflow valves, which I'm not going to talk about here. I would suggest that people get on the MTA website and look around and see what they're doing, because there's a lot of good things that are happening there. But one thing was mentioned by their engineer, which made sense to me. Backflow valves are put in houses to keep the sewer when the pumping stations cannot handle all the water because there's water getting into the sewer system. There's a backflow which goes into your house, many times into your basements. A backflow valve will stop that water from coming into your house. Now, the cost, I asked my plumber friend what it costs to put a backflow valve is. He says between $3,000 and $5,000. It can be as high as $8,000. Now, the engineer said we do new construction, especially in new construction near not just the floodplain, but the what's the term?
Flood prone.
Flood prone areas. Those valves only cost like $150. If you're building a new home, stick it in now, save all that money down the road. And I don't see why we as a township don't mandate that in new construction, backflow valves should be put in. I would look for our response.
The code in itself frowns on backwater valves. Backflow prevention is very big in code as far as potable water. Backwater valves, when it comes to sanitary sewer connections, can fail just the same, meaning the water leaving your house may fail getting out. So in new construction, they're not required. And it comes down to personal choice again. They have to be maintained as well. Valve that you're mentioning or speaking of doesn't last forever. So most of the time in new construction, obviously it would be underground. So then you get into wells and pits and things of that nature and overall maintenance that you have to sell or put out there to a new homeowner.
But when you're building a new home, and they're usually put in the basement, where the water, where the sewer goes out, that's where you put it, and it would be much more cost to put it in. They have two different types of valves. They have the one that the valve actually flips back and forth, or you have a guillotine valve, which you manually use when you go on vacation and wherever you're not going to be around. You can't see it if there's a flood, or if there's a flood, you close it. I just bring it up because the engineer brought that up, and there's going to be many people that are going to be putting these valves in their homes that are in the flood area. Maybe you want to talk about it.
It could be something the board would have to petition and say they want to put into an ordinance that become part of the building code, and therefore then would present that to the state through the 503H process. Since right now backwater valves are not part of the international building code as specifically adopted by the state of Pennsylvania. So now we're going above code. We would have to put that together in an amendment, get together with Kelsey, and then apply to the state and say we want to make this part of our code that particular homes in those particular areas or specific areas related to flood or overflow would require a backwater valve. We have to put it in the legal code.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other new business? All right. Oh, why you're talking over there?
No other comment, just happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Look for the next issue of the magazine, first week of December.
Aaron?
Just wanna bring the attention to everybody that, Crime Alert has an annual Christmas, I guess you could call it somewhat of a banquet, where they have, live musician That's December 10th, which is a Sunday at the Doubletree. Doors open at 5:30, and I believe the cost of the tickets are $30. Get to see a great show and also help raise money for crime alert. Outside of that, as noted, the holidays are fast approaching. Just keep that in mind when going out and having that Christmas party or Thanksgiving work party that you do not drink and drive.
Thanks, Chief. Karen.
So last week I had the honor of accepting this very nice award from the Schuylkill River Greenway Association because they recognized Muhlenberg Township as their governmental partner of the year. So, we did have a little Facebook post today for that, so just wanted to bring that to your attention, that they honored Muhlenberg in that sense. For all of our work on the Schuylkill River, whether it be the river or walking trails in the river. And, the last event of the year we have with our department is in connection with the library, their annual holiday trail of lights. So, it's December 9th from 5:30 to 8:30. As a fundraiser for them, so come on out, go your cars with your kitties and come around, you know, and see some great lights this way.
We held a planning commission meeting last week. At that meeting, we discussed the 4536 Franco Road subdivision plan and also discussed the need to reschedule the December planning commission meeting to December 13th in order to have the meeting before the December Board of Commissioners meeting. The hope is that the land development plan for the Manderbach property will be completed and we'll get a conditional approval at the December 13th Planning Commission meeting, which means we'll have a week, we'll have about 4 days to come back and be prepared for a conditional use hearing and conditional plan approval at the December Board of Commissioners meeting. So if you had intended to attend the December 20th Planning Commission meeting, it will now be held the 13th.
Thank you. All right. Commissioner Lawrence, who's here first?
I'm just gonna thank everybody for coming out and wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Commissioner. I missed the fire chief. We gotta get you up here.
I don't have much, two quick comments. One, I'd like to thank the commissioners for working with us, in regards to the budget conversations for 2024. Greatly appreciated, for the support, as we kind of expand operations here in the township. Secondly, with the holiday coming up, if you're gonna deep fry the turkey, please do it safely outside with adequate space, so nobody gets hurt. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner. Oh, you're next.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention, all residents received the Muhlenberg School District newsletter. There's an excellent article in there where school resource officers, that partnership between the Muhlenberg Police Department and Muhlenberg School District, that talks about our 2 officers that are assigned there, and it's very well done. And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Well, I have just 2 quick things, just so you know, Wednesday, the township building will close at noon, so our employees can start an early celebration of Thanksgiving with their families. And also a reminder, because we'll get numerous calls that trash has been pushed back a day, so Thursday or now Friday, Friday or now Saturday. So I know we put it out there everywhere, but we'll still get some questions, and, you know, we try to, you're really only supposed to put the trash out within 24 hours, like 12 hours of pickup. I forget the ordinance. So just a reminder for that. So, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We'll see you all next month.